Welcome back to Be the Change podcast with DiversityNL. And today we're here with Kelly Ryan. So Kelly is the fantastic person behind Nerdy Nutrition Corporate Wellness. Let's get into a little bit about your background, how you came to make the decision to start this fantastic company of yours.
Yeah, so I'll give you the short version. So basically, you go back long enough and or far enough, and I was pretty young when I started cooking. So I've always loved cooking, even from a very young age. I think I was about 11 making omelets, so it's always been a passion of mine. And after high school, I went to cooking school in Ottawa and worked in restaurants for a number of years and owned my own restaurant for a year. After I closed my restaurant, I decided to go back, or I was doing my business degree and started working for an engineering firm, where after that I actually did quality and health and safety and internal auditing. So it was a bit of an offshoot and worked in that for quite a number of years. I think about 14, maybe. No, longer than that. I don't know, a long time. Then when my daughter was born, I was looking at this nice new little person, and I knew that I wanted to learn how to help her be as healthy as possible. So I went back to school again and became a registered holistic nutritionist. And I was working with families. I had become a certified virtual coach and a culinary nutrition expert throughout this time. I was working with families, and I kept hearing the same complaints about trying to live a healthy lifestyle. The first one was picky kids. I was able to help with that. No problem. That one I could do. The second was picky partners. That's a bit more challenging. And then the last one was workplaces. And so when I really thought about it, I was like, I've got this background in quality policy, internal auditing. I've got a background in cooking. I'm a nutritionist. Why am I not mixing all of this together and helping companies so that we can remove that barrier from an individual in their health and wellness journey, right? And the more I learned, the more I saw the value, not just to the individual, but actually to the company as well. And so from that is basically where Nerdy Nutrition Corporate Wellness was born.
Wow. That's amazing. And they all really do work hand in hand with one another. They do build off one another when you look at that backstory. It's truly, how you get to where you are. That's fantastic. Congrats. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because it's a weird eclectic background, but it all works.
It does work. It works quite well, actually. Yeah, that's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about, you and I guess, with our organizations that we've created, of Fabulousness, of course, looking at, they do interlink, right? That health and wellness and the DEI piece. Tell us a little bit about that from your experience. Where does that land to? When you're talking to organizations, because they really do interlink a lot.
They interlink a lot. So for anybody who hasn't watched the last one that we were in, go back and watch the last one because it's really going to play into what I'm going to say right now. So basically with DEI, that comes down to your mental health a lot, and I know we talked a lot in the last one about how stress affects things like your digestion and whatnot. And if you're in a place where you don't feel included, you don't feel like there's equity, you don't feel like you belong, you're going to be stressed all the time, Whereas when you are in a place where you feel those things, you feel better. You feel, it takes away that barrier to, and it lowers the stress levels, which is going to help you do things like digest your food better. It lowers your cortisol. It lowers your insulin. It lowers your blood pressure, right? And these are all health and wellness aspects. The other thing too is when you've got diversity in your company, which is really important, you get brilliant things like different mindsets, different idea generation, more creativity. You get understanding of different cultures and lifestyles and new experiences, right? And these things are so valuable when it comes to a company, but also to individual lifestyles. And like I said, the mindset and the health and wellness aspect, right? I mean, if you think about it, if you've got different diversity or different cultures, say, or, whatever, different lifestyles in your company, you do get different lenses on things. And you also get to maybe try different foods. One food that we've learned is really good for our health is turmeric. And you see that a lot in an Indian lifestyle, right? So different, having different cultures, different personalities and having them all feel like they're included and they belong is really, really beneficial to helping your health and wellness program, as well as the health and wellness of your employees.
Absolutely. The last episode, we talked, I guess, a lot about every single one of us is so different in how our body reacts to foods, to, what basically fills us, in not just in the belly sense, but what fills us and what makes us feel good. This stuff is not about body shaming. It's shaming or, like saying that, hey, I shouldn't have had whatever it was I had. It's more about learning what it is that our body fills us up on in that positive way, right? So that we feel good, because there's nothing worse than the afternoon drags trying to get through your day. And you have those, that drag that happens. And that happens when we're not having the right things. A lot of us in Newfoundland and Labrador have different difficulties when it comes to, perimenopause or menopause, as there's different things that happen throughout the body, the shifting of weight, the weight gain, a lot of joint stuff. So you and I have had conversations around joints and around anti-inflammatory or inflammatory foods. Let's have a look at that conversation. Inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory foods, because not everyone is up on that and educated as what you are. So if you could enlighten us, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So first of all, when it comes to inflammatory and inflammatory, it can be a bit different for different people. So if you find something, makes your joints flare up, then stop eating it. I mean, learning to listen to your own body is huge, right? Now, a lot of times pro-inflammatory foods are going to be foods that are processed. Some people struggle with dairy foods being pro-inflammatory. Not everybody. Some people do. Some people struggle with a category of foods called nightshades, and they include potatoes, eggplant, peppers, tomatoes. I think that's it. And for some people, they can find those pro-inflammatory. Now, tomatoes, though, are a weird one because they also contain lycopene, which is anti-inflammatory. So it really comes down to trying things and seeing, does this affect me or does it not? Anti-inflammatory foods, turmeric is a big one. Now, to make it more bioavailable, you want to add black pepper. Black pepper makes turmeric more bioavailable to your body.
Hang on. Bioavailable, not a word I've ever heard before. Help us out.
Bioavailable basically means that your body processes it better. It takes it in. It knows how to use more of the item, right? So if something like, even with different types of vitamins and minerals. Some are more bioavailable than others. But then when you combine them with different things like iron and is it calcium or vitamin C? I always get the two of those mixed up. Vitamin C, iron and vitamin C. When you add those together, you absorb your iron better. It makes it more bioavailable. And there's other things like you'll see calcium and vitamin D together a lot of times.
Yep.
And again, that's because it makes the vitamin D more bioavailable. So it basically, they work together so that your body can absorb it and use it better. Natural forms are generally more bioavailable than pill forms or supplement forms, which is why I'm a big proponent of eating your vegetables, eating, the actual foods is the better way to get your nutrients in, and then supplements should just supplement, right? Like I can't get it all from a potato anymore because I now need to eat 5 potatoes instead of 1, and I'm not going to eat 5 potatoes. So,
nor probably should we.
No, do not eat 5 potatoes. No, but oh God, do not eat 5 potatoes. But no, it's just sometimes we can't always get all of it from food, and so that's when you may introduce a supplement. But getting it from the actual food is the better way to have it because that's the most bioavailable form. But you do see things where you want to combine different nutrients because certain nutrients work very well together. Like turmeric and pepper.
Who would have known?
No, that was a long one. I would. So yeah, like turmeric is anti-inflammatory, but then too, you want things that are going to lubricate your joints, like your omegas, right? Which you can get from fish, you can get them from things like flax seeds, hemp seeds, that sort of thing. There's also a lot of antioxidant foods, which are great for you. And those are nutrients like vitamin E, a lot of B vitamins, vitamin C. You see a lot of anti-inflammatories in foods like blueberries. Blueberries are very rich in anti-inflammatories and bioflavonoids, which are basically just natural, like fruit and vegetable nutrients. So getting these nutrients from real foods, which I know we discussed last time, your real foods are basically something you can actually pick, off of a tree or that sort of thing. But yeah, it's trying to avoid the processed foods, listening to your body to see what is affecting you. I know dairy doesn't affect me very well, so I do avoid most dairies, especially North American dairies. I avoid packaged foods as much as possible because it affects me. It affects me negatively, right? So, but a lot of fruits, vegetables, what else? Seafood, I find really good, and it really does come down to finding what works and what doesn't work for you as an individual. Not an easy answer.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not like tick, tick, tick. Okay, we got these 3 things. We're good to go. Like, it's so different. Like, and depending on where you live too, depending on the cost of things. And we talked about before, like a lot of times we can get things frozen. And as if we can't get them fresh, like let's get them frozen. But like, let's look at, are there additives or things put in there, the packaging that's going to, help keep them for 5 years? If so, like you probably want to avoid that and look at something else. But like the cost of fresh everything can be quite expensive. So that's why some people start their own gardens. Sometimes they grow their own herbs and that sorts of things. Let's talk a little bit about workplace corporate cultures, and if I'm a leader or manager, what are some different things that I can do to help support people's health and wellness?
I would start with talking to them, and if you're afraid that they're not going to tell you, because some people can be nervous about having this conversation with a higher up, you can have people come in and have this conversation for you, right? Or do anonymous surveys or that sort of thing. But learning about what your people need is the best place to start, realizing that people are individuals and what works for one person won't work for another, I keep saying, if your company is made up of young single moms, giving them a gym membership is not a good idea, But if you've got everybody who is, say, perimenopausal, like maybe having things like the croissants and the muffins and stuff, isn't going to be good for them, right? Actually, that's not going to be good for anybody. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, It really depends on what a person needs and what works for them. Somebody who is menopausal, maybe they're trying to stay away from high cardio, right? And do more strength training and walking and stuff like that. Maybe they're realizing that they want to clean up their diet and they don't want to feel bad about saying no to that piece of pizza or that piece of cake or whatever, and just being intentional and learning what's important to your employees, it will go a long way, And there's a lot of things too that you can do that aren't going to cost a lot. I mean, you could encourage walking meetings. Like if you don't need something where you're taking notes, right? Or walking coffees. I mean, your lunch that you bring in, maybe it can be wraps and salads instead of pizza, so it's thinking creatively.
Absolutely. And I think, we talk and one of the words that we both use is intention, with intention. So if we're more intentional on the conversations we have, if we're more intentional around foods, conversation, I think it's, getting to know who folks truly are, what's important to them, like you said, and just having some honest conversations and being vulnerable about like, hey, yeah, I too am struggling with menopause or perimenopause, or yeah, I had a bad weekend too on, whatever that was, and just, sharing stories, because shame never got us to good places. But I think vulnerability has, being able to share our stories and some of our struggles with people is like, yeah, I'm finding this hard too. For me, like being in menopause, I find it tremendously hard to stick away from foods. I go to the comfort foods. I'm a salty person, right? I'm spicy and salty, right? Like, so I go to the salt. Like, I want the chip. I want with a dash of chocolate on the side, right? So now I've gone from a sweet tooth from never having it to after cancer, having a sweet tooth and wanting chips. Like, so that was never my personality of wanting that. So it's, how do we curb these? And sitting in my lazy boy after supper is not doing me much good. I mean, like when it's winter time and we have terrible weather, maybe like, there's a place and time for these things, but how do we encourage that movement and And I think if you're a leader and a manager, that if we can be kind of the role model, right? Put ourselves out there with, the things that we're bringing into the office space. I love having, and you and I have had a couple of, connect-ins and meetings, and we've taken our dogs for walks. We're not taking notes. We're just talking about work. We're talking about, how do we do better with workplaces and, the conversations and just all around intention. Like, fantastic things happen when we look at intention.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I 100% agree with you when you say you need to model it, right? And because the thing is, okay, so here's the crux, right? If you're saying, oh yeah, go to the gym or, you do what you need to do or whatever, but people don't see you as a leader doing it, well, they're going to be like, oh, well, he or she is here, or they are here all the time working. They're working till 11 o'clock at night. Maybe I need to do the same thing so I can keep my job, right? Or move up or whatever, right? And I mean, it's kind of like, you can't have a do as I say, not as I do mentality, because people see what you're doing and they're going to model that, right? So if you're a leader, it's very important that you're modeling a healthy lifestyle so that you're basically giving people permission to do the same, right? Because the fact is if you're saying, yes, I really want you to have a healthy lifestyle, but like I said, you're in the office at 5 o'clock and you don't leave until 11 o'clock at night, and you're push, and you're not taking care of yourself, then people are like, oh, well, maybe I should be doing the same thing. Maybe I should be here from 5 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock and hustle. And, and they're not going to do the things that they need to do because they don't think it's okay in that environment.
Absolutely. So being the role model, being the leader, setting good examples, right? Like, probably not sending emails at 11 o'clock at night and then expecting someone to be, attached to on the other end to respond to it. So, being respectful when we're sending out things, hey, it's during our work hours, not, and if you're on vacation and taking time away, and that's so important too, to get our breaks, the person's on vacation, not to expect them to be signing in, to be looking at things, because now you're never shutting off. And that's a piece of wellness as well, right? Being able to shut off, being able to step away, and someone else is taking up, that workload, or it can wait until I get back.
Exactly. You need that mental downtime, and studies are showing that when people have that mental downtime, they're more effective, they're more productive, they're more efficient, more creative, right? And so encouraging, not just allowing, but encouraging that downtime is going to pay off in dividends,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for this insightful discussion today. If folks want to book an assessment with you, they want to get you in to have a conversation with you, how can they connect with you?
You can connect with me a couple of different ways. You can check out my website at nerdynutrition.ca. And if you're starting your own health and wellness program, I do have a training there that can help get you kickstarted if you want to sign up for that. And you can also email me at kelly@nerdynutrition.ca, where if you want to have a chat about your health and wellness program or what's going on currently in your company, reach out and we can schedule a chat.
Fantastic. And Kelly, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.